Hey, so we're here today to talk about RAGAP, which is a Rotary Action Group addiction prevention. I am Paul Slavic. I'm the president of the Alpharetta Rotary Club. And I'm going to let my colleagues introduce themselves. We've got Mike Breit and Ryan Hinson, but I'll let them introduce themselves to you as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael Breit. I am leading the Rotary Action Group for Addiction Prevention in the Alpharetta Club.
And I'm Ryan Hinson, and I am assisting with the RAGAP group in the Alpharetta Rotary Club.
Absolutely. So today, mainly what we wanted to do was just bring awareness to the community about what RAGAP is and what we're hoping to accomplish with it. So Paul was the one who originally brought RAGAP to Alpharetta, so I want him to kind of introduce a little bit about it and why he decided it was important for us.
Yeah, so right before my Rotary year started, I was at the International Convention. And I know that addiction in our community, it's plagued our community for quite some time. It's affected a lot of people that I know personally. And so when I was at the convention, I saw the booth, and I thought, what could this be about? So I went and took a look, talked to Larry Kenmore. He told me all about it. He's an ex-paramedic. He's been around this stuff for a very long time. He really knows what he's talking about. But they've developed a program that, and Mike's going to get further into the program, but they've developed a very effective program that takes steps all the way from kindergarten all the way through high school, whereas other programs, they only touch certain time periods throughout school rather than sticking with kids throughout the entire time of being in school. And they also have many other parts of the program that are able to reach deep into the community and affect other pieces, not just school and not just disposal, but there's a lot of different pieces of it. So after hearing about the program while I was at the convention, I thought this would be something great to bring back to our community. And I thought the Rotary would be the best conduit to bring this and really implement it into our schools and help our citizens get a hold of a lot of this stuff. So, I brought it to the club. Mike stepped up and said, I would love to lead this. It's something near and dear to his heart as well. So he really took charge, got a bunch of people to step up and serve on his board as well. So he's ready to take the next step. I think you're going to talk to us about the next steps immediately that we're going to take and how we're going to start implementing the program into our community and see some immediate results of the program. So I'll let Mike start to talk about what are some of the steps in the program, and then what is maybe the most immediate next step that we're going to be taking, and start touching on that as well.
Yeah, so the program as a whole is a 5-step program. As he mentioned, Larry has kind of been the champion of this for Rotary, and he's the one who's kind of introduced us to the program and kind of taught us what all needs to go into it. Because again, we're not necessarily trying to conquer the world all at once, but over time we want to be a great resource for the city of Alpharetta and communities around to help prevent addiction, not just in adults, but also in kids. So the first way that we're going to jump into that is by removing drugs that are not being used for a productive means in the community. And to talk a little bit more about that, I have Ryan here. Ryan is on my board with me, and he's been kind of the champion of that side. So I'm going to let Ryan take it away and talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing.
Yes, thank you. So addiction is a crisis, not just nationally, but something that affects us here in our communities and in our neighborhoods, and oftentimes starts in our own homes and exists right below our own noses. So in Georgia, from 2019 to 2023, over 10,000 people died of overdose, and 57% of those cases happened in the person's own home. When we think of the drug crisis, the first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds is street corridors and seedy areas down in the city. But truthfully, one of the largest risks exists in our own home, and that's in the medicine cabinet. And experts have identified unused medicine as the initial source of supply for youth who end up getting addicted to opiates. So with this program, placing these disposal boxes in more convenient areas and trying to remove the friction and the stigma of where previously they had to be held at police stations because it was basically just a bucket that you dumped all your medicine in. These disposal boxes have a proprietary mix of chemicals that immediately neutralizes the medicine once it's been dumped in. So that allows us to place them at different community gathering areas, hospitals, libraries, etc. And that really helps us prevent the addiction before it even starts.
So Ryan, I got a question for you. So if I'm just a normal person, let's say I just recently had, my wisdom teeth taken out, and they prescribed me 60 or 80 Percocets, and I used 4 of them. And now I don't know, I got all this medicine sitting in my cabinet. I don't know what to do with it. Obviously, you're saying that this is something that can affect this problem. What am I as a normal person supposed to do with all of this, and what's your recommendation here? And
yeah, so it definitely is a major issue. 80% of opiate addiction cases can be traced back to prescriptions. And most of those cases either end up the person overusing their own prescription or someone getting drugs from a family member or a friend, and having unused medicine just sitting in your cabinet is a huge potential for what we call diversion, which is where the medicine is diverted from its initial intended use of treating pain from a wisdom tooth extraction to feeding into youth or the illicit market. So anything we can do, just getting rid of one bottle of pills can prevent an entire lifetime of addiction, and that whole cycle that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars per person. And like I said, 10,000 overdose deaths. That's 10,000 families that are devastated by addiction. That's 10,000 lost fathers, mothers, wives, husbands, brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters. So it's a huge impact potential that it can have. And beyond the social implications, a lot of people end up just flushing their pills down the toilet, and that creates a huge issue not only for our municipal water supply, but is also a threat to our crucial native water systems.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm in the moving industry, and when we move people frequently have multiple pill bottles of unused prescriptions from years and years and years ago where they just don't know what to do with it. So they just wind up keeping it, holding on to it, because like Ryan said, they don't want to put it in the water supply. They don't want to flush it. They don't want to do anything that could be harmful, but at the same time, they hold on to it. And then eventually they hold on to it for so long that a grandson comes along and sees it, or is curious, or is trying to find Tylenol and winds up taking oxycodone or something to that effect. And it causes this chain reaction issue where just at the source, like Ryan said, if we can get rid of prescriptions that are not being used for helpful means, it can eliminate 80% of the problem right off the bat. Yeah. So the whole idea behind the disposal kits that we're putting out in public areas is that you can take these pills and dispose of them anonymously without having to have supervision or sign a form or anything like that, and put them in a solvent that automatically neutralizes the drug to where it's no longer a problem. Because most addiction starts not out of ill intent, but out of simple mistakes.
So what would be your recommendation? So let's say I'm a guy, I have a bunch of these pills sitting in my house. Are you saying maybe once a year I should go through, clean out all my stuff, and maybe is there a way like I can look up online where these might be? Are we going to list them somewhere where I can see where these are going to be placed, and once a year check what I've got and go find where these are located and dump them? What would your recommendation be for a guy like me?
Absolutely. So as we sit here, we're towards the beginning of May. By the end of May, we're going to have 5 of these dispersed throughout the community of Alpharetta. We'll make very public where those are, and there will also be markings around them, signage around them, so it's obvious and easy to find. We're working with a few organizations now who are also going to post about it on their social media to be able to find it. So if you want to dispose of it, feel free to reach out. We'll give you the nearest location to you. You can go drop off the pills, neutralize them, and start solving this problem one step at a time.
Hey, Ryan, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So as someone in recovery from opiate addiction, whose journey through addiction started from this very issue that we're talking about, finding pills in my parents' medicine cabinet that I just was curious, honestly, and decided to try one day. The DEA does do yearly drug disposal events, but it only takes a day for a curious teenager to go into that medicine cabinet and find drugs. So the goal with what we're doing is to make this process so seamless and frictionless and convenient that basically once you're done using the drugs, you can go right down the street and dispose of them, and preventing that cycle from ever starting.
So Mike, just going along those lines, why are we taking this first step? Why do we think that this is a crucial first step in this process?
I think a big key is going back to Larry Kenmore, who himself was a paramedic for 24 years. He saw firsthand what that looked like when it's too late and addiction has already set in, and he's having to go see these people who are going through it, and obviously that was a part of his normal day-to-day. It really makes you think that we want to help all the fire, EMS, police, as much as we can here in this community. They give us so much every single day without asking for anything in return. And if we can get ahead of things and help prevent issues before they start, that's really the key. So that's why we want to start at the heart of it, which is prescription medication, and try to dispose of those so that it never leads to addiction, so that that police officer or fireman never has to go out and try to resuscitate a 22-year-old because he's gone too far.
So going along those lines, obviously the first thing that we're going to roll out are the disposal containers, and we're going to be putting some more information online on alpharettarotary.com. We're going to be posting continuous updates on our social media as well, so keep checking back there for more updates and more information. But we're going to be taking some next steps right after that. And what are some of those next steps that we can probably look forward to seeing here in the future after we roll out the disposal containers?
So after we get the disposal containers out, there's several steps we have to go through and clear with different local, county, and state governments in order to proceed. But one thing we can talk about is there's going to be in-home kits, very similar to the public-facing ones, which is a little small version, but it'll help you get rid of prescription medication in your house, because some people have a quantity built up that would be difficult to transport and put into a public realm. So just sending those out, we'll be starting on that later this year.
Yeah, and that's something too where they can have that bottle in the medicine cabinet right there that they're seeing every time they're using those pills. And then when they're done, it's such a kind of seamless automatic thing for them to just dump it in there, shake it up, and throw it in the trash.
Well, this is such an important first step. I mean, you've got police and fire and EMS all out there on the front lines. They've got Narcan. They've got so many other tools that they're using every day to try to combat this problem. But we as a community, I think, need to come together and try to prevent it from ever happening. And it starts in the home, it starts in schools, and it starts, with your principles and your values. So coming together as a community to support it all at once is the best thing that we can do. So thank you guys for your time and effort, and continue to follow along with us for updates and how you can get involved.